In this lecture, we're going to look at casting shadows. First, I'm going to show you the shadow advanced effect, and then I'm going to show you a different way to cast shadows. Now, I originally learned this technique from the CreateStudio YouTube channel, which I recommend you go through. But then I modified it to make the process even simpler. So let's jump over to CreateStudio and I'll show you how it works. So here we are in CreateStudio, and I'm going to make a new project. And I'm going to call it Cast Shadow. And we'll make it 1080p. And the background doesn't really matter, but let's make it white just for simplicity so we can see our shadow. Now, let me bring in a character. And I decided we're going to use the astronaut because he's got a nice dance move. And we're going to use that dance move. So here's the astronaut. We'll bring him in. And let me show you how you can cast a shadow. I come up to Advanced, and I say Shadow. Here it's black. I can blur it, and then I give it an offset in some direction. And you see this offset of his shadow. And when he moves, the shadow moves with him. Now that's kind of cool, but the way most shadows work is that they like attach from the feet and they go off at an angle. So I'm going to show you how to cast that kind of shadow, and I do that without using the shadow effect. How do I turn the shadow off? Probably by just setting the offsets to 0. We'll just never see the shadow. To cast the shadow, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this character. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's get rid of idle. So we will click that action, and I'm going to change it to the robo dance. I don't know if you've seen this, but he does a robo dance. This should be interesting for a shadow. Now we take this character and we duplicate him. And the character on top is the one that we want doing the dance, and the one on the bottom we're going to use for a shadow. And what you do is you come over to Settings. Oh, I'm sorry, it's still Advanced. And you go to, we don't need the shadow. You go to Brightness and Contrast. And we set the brightness of the shadow to 0. Now, you can't really see this. Let's wink out the guy on top. But here's our shadow. And it's going to be doing exactly the same effect as the character on top. Now what we need to do is we need to take that shadow and we need to offset him. Let's lock the character on top, and then we'll go to the shadow, and what I want to do is I want to scrunch it down quite a bit, and then I want to skew it. Let's see, where's skew is under Advanced as well. So we go to Skew, and I'm going to skew it off in the X direction. Like this, so the shadow is going off into the distance. And then we probably want to even scrunch it down a little bit more. We want to wink in the character on top, and then we want to line up the shadow, the feet, just like that. Now, what we do is we bring in a background. And I'm going to use, I found a nice woodsy kind of background. Now, it doesn't make a lot of sense. This is Garden 2. Because the light is coming from the left, I really ought to be casting the shadow in a different direction. But this will work anyway. Let's bring this over for the length of the thing. And bring the background down to the very bottom. And now he's casting a shadow onto the background. But it's a very hard shadow. So what you do is you take the shadow character and you come over to Settings and you down its opacity. Way down, like that. Now when we play this, we get the moving robot move, and we get a shadow in the background. So that's how to cast shadows. 2 ways, using the shadow effect, which I don't really like, and duplicating the character and using that as his shadow. And in the next lecture, we're going to look at working with multiple characters and elements. I'll see you there.